everyone. Today we are going to study chapter number 10 of A Pact with the Sun. Chapter's name is A Strange Wrestling Match by Indra David. One should not be proud of anything. One should also avoid boasting of his things. In this story, it has been revealed in a very interesting manner. Because of his habit of boasting, a man was caught up in trouble and he had to face a ghost. Before starting the story, I introduce you the characters. The characters are Vijay Singh, villagers, an old woman, and a ghost. Let us start the story. Vijay Singh was a famous wrestler. He was so strong and healthy that he could not be defeated by any wrestler in the world. In comparison to others, he looked like a giant. But Vijay Singh had one weakness. He boasted about his big things. Once, because of his habit of boasting, he was caught up. One day, he was sitting in the marketplace surrounded with many villagers. He began to boast that he was not afraid of ghosts and he wanted to fight with a ghost. Hearing this, someone advised him to go to haunted desert where ghosts roamed freely at night. Now, Vijay Singh was scared and repented for speaking about meeting a ghost. He also said that there was no ghost. It was only a fairy tale. But someone told him the exact location. Vijay Singh was ready to set out for his journey. The whole village came to bid him farewell. An old lady also came there. She gave him a small packet and he started walking towards the desert. It was dark night. After walking few miles, Vijay Singh saw the packet. He opened it and found a lump of salt and an egg in it. As soon as Vijay Singh entered the haunted desert, a voice called him. The voice told him that he was his friend Natwar. At once Vijay Singh realized that it was a ghost. It was not his friend Natwar. Vijay Singh was trying to hide his fear, so he called back and asked the ghost where he was. Vijay Singh was a good wrestler. He also wanted to guess the power of his enemy. At once, the ghost appeared at his side. Vijay Singh looked at him and insulted him by calling stupid and liar. Hearing insulting words, the ghost was surprised because generally people ran away in horror. They often fainted also, but this was completely opposite. He wanted to meet a ghost. In surprise, the ghost asked why Vijay Singh wanted to meet a ghost. At this, Vijay Singh said that he was a useless ghost. He was unable to read a man's thoughts. Vijay Singh told him that he was fed up fighting with men, so he wanted to fight with a ghost. The ghost became speechless, but he tried to scare Vijay Singh. He said that Vijay Singh did not appear strong enough. At this, Vijay Singh told the ghost that appearance can be deceptive. To challenge the ghost, Vijay Singh gave him a piece of rock to squeeze liquid from the rock. The ghost tried but failed. Vijay Singh stealthily took out the egg from his pocket and snatched the rock from the ghost. Very stealthily, he dropped the rock and squeezed the egg, created an illusion of squeezing the rock. Vijay Singh then gave another piece of rock to the ghost to extract out the salt. The ghost tried to crush the stone but failed. He gave the stone to Vijay Singh. In the meantime, Vijay Singh stealthily took out the salt from his pocket and crumbled the lump of salt. The ghost began doubting his powers. He left the idea of fighting with Vijay Singh. He invited Vijay Singh to stay a night at his house. Vijay Singh accepted his invitation to stay at his house, but in return, he asked the ghost to be his prisoner, as he wanted to show the trophy of his victory to the people of his village. The ghost agreed, but actually he wanted to kill Vijay Singh in his sleep. The ghost took Vijay Singh to his house in the cave. He fed him dry fruits and milk. The ghost also provided him a comfortable bed to sleep. Vijay Singh kept awake at night. In the middle of night, when the ghost was snoring, he slipped off his bed. He placed a bolster in the center of the bed. It appeared like a sleeping man, while Vijay Singh hid himself in a dark corner. Just before the dawn, the ghost attacked with a stout club and hit hard on the bolster 7 times. But he did not hear a groan. He was pleased that he had killed Vijay Singh and returned to sleep again. When the ghost went to sleep, Vijay Singh silently slipped back into his bed. In the morning, he groaned and complained that there were insects which disturbed him 7 times in his sleep. The ghost grew tensed. He thought that there was no safety near such a wrestler. So he ran away from the cave, leaving behind all the wealth. Vijay Singh returned to his village with the wealth of the ghost. It took several camels from the village to take the wealth from the cave. He returned much of the wealth to the owners. And then Vijay Singh went to the old lady and thanked her for her invaluable gift. He also asked for her granddaughter's hand in marriage. But since then, Vijay Singh left his habit of boasting, and no traveller was also troubled again in the haunted desert. This was the story of your chapter, A Strange Wrestling Match. Now some questions. Question number 1. Who was Vijay Singh? The answer is Vijay Singh was a famous wrestler. Next question is, what did he look like? The answer is, he looked like a giant. Next question is, what was his weakness? Answer is, his weakness was the habit of boasting. Next question is, what was the old woman's gift to Vijay Singh? The answer is, the old woman's gift to Vijay Singh was a small packet containing a lump of salt and an egg. Next question is, what made the ghost speechless? The answer is, Vijay Singh's brave and insulting words made the ghost speechless. Next question is, in what sense was the wrestling match strange? The answer is, the wrestling match was strange because it was a fight between a man and a ghost. Next question is, why did Vijay Singh say appearances can be deceptive? The answer is, Vijay Singh said so because he wanted to scare the ghost. Next question is, why do you think Vijay Singh asked the ghost to accompany him to town? The answer is, Vijay Singh asked the ghost to accompany him to town because he wanted to show the people a trophy of his victory. Next question is, what really helped Vijay Singh in defeating the ghost? The answer is, the old woman's gifts really helped Vijay Singh in defeating the ghost. Now some difficult words of the chapter. Boastful means showing too much pride. Massive means very big or huge. Shortcoming means weakness. Proclaimed means announced officially or publicly. Eccentric means strange or unusual person or behavior. Scornfully means something done without respect or showing displeasure. Apprehension means anxiety or fear that something bad or unpleasant is going to happen. Many grammatical devices have been used in this chapter. The adjective, a word used before a noun. For example, a tall man, a stout host, an old woman, the haunted, desert, tall, stout, old, haunted. These are adjectives. They have been used before nouns. These are nouns. So, like this, you can find more words in the chapter. Next is the conjunctions. The conjunctions are the words which join two sentences or two words together. In this chapter, conjunctions have been used. The sentence is, he opened it and found nothing. Here, in this sentence, and has been used as conjunction and it is joining two sentences. He opened it, he found nothing. He has not been repeated because if the subject is same, subject is not repeated. Next sentence is, I cannot refuse your hospitality, but tomorrow you will go with me. Here, but has been used as conjunction and it is joining two sentences. I cannot refuse your hospitality, tomorrow you will go with me. So like this, you can find more sentences in the chapter. So today in this chapter we focused on detailed summary as well as explanation, question answer, difficult word meanings and grammatical devices. I hope you have enjoyed the chapter. Thank you.